Greetings and welcome back to the Octopus Movement podcast, where we highlight nonlinear thinkers from around the world and discuss their connection to the octopus movement and their efforts to solve the world's seemingly unsolvable problems. I'm your host, Grant Harris, a fellow nonlinear thinker, consultant, author, and board member. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing a very special guest by the name of Sujata Tiwari. Sujata is a seasoned entrepreneur, and she has founded many companies in her time in various sectors of retail, franchising, and skincare. She's also the life mentor and CEO of Avocado Skin. This particular company produces products from wellness and beauty and edible oils, and she's in the process of launching the company's first digital platform and trading segment under the brand Pour Over Pores. In addition to that, she also founded HMZ, a flagship retail operation, and which is branded under the label of a Carmina shoemaker. And she's been able to achieve uh, $500,000 in business revenue as CEO of HMZ. But most importantly, she considers herself a life mentor and author. So very happy to have you here, Suyata. We appreciate the opportunity to have you on the podcast. First and foremost, I would love for you to dig in and tell us a little bit about your origin story and what sparked your interest in the octopus movement itself.
Oh, wow. It all seems a long time ago. So, you are wanting to know my original story of what I wrote in my autobiography, Against All Odds? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, please. And if we would love to hear more about your book as well, but would love to hear your story and how you got to be founder of these organizations and how mentoring has been such a large part of your life.
Yes. So, the Against All Odds is actually my autobiography. And the reason why I wrote that book was the life journey of a singular woman in this world, and how I traveled through all the challenges and how I overcame it with triumph. And it all comes at a cost, and it comes against all odds, as the title says. So there's so much of it that I went through in life that I jokingly say, except for being murdered, there's almost everything that life can throw at you, which I have faced. And that's why I wrote the book, to inspire people with my journey and tell them that if I could do it, so can they. It's tough and hard, but it's doable if you have self conviction, confidence, and belief. So that's how I landed up from, whether it was from a housewife of 13 years to starting my career with absolutely no resume, with just a bachelor's degree, in starting in sales and marketing of computers, to going into journalism, then going into anti-counterfeiting, then setting up business on foreign soil, which is not an easy thing to do. And then simultaneously, while running a business, if you can imagine it, fighting for justice against rape, when my daughter got raped about 10 years back. So I was doing that, as well as you know doing my business in a foreign country, and all this in a world where it's to do with certifications, degrees, in the linear kind of a thinking, right? If you have them, then you can be somewhere. What I have shown in practical thing, and it's all out there, is that without having those certificates and degrees, which I added later on, some of it, but you can do it if you have that confidence. And I had nothing except for confidence to go along. So whatever life threw at me, I handled that with confidence. So that's how I did whatever I did. Plus, I had a spiritual experience where I met God in Barcelona, as I said. That's Perry liked that, the headline, I think, when he first interviewed me, and I said that I met God in Barcelona and my angels.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing those intimate details about your family history. I am Words can't express how sorry I am to hear that that happened to your daughter. I'm glad to hear that you're using it as a platform for advocacy. So the couple of threads there that you mentioned, the fact that you've done so many different things in a nonlinear capacity. You mentioned not having all the degrees and certifications and pedigree in order to be a business owner in a foreign land. So can you tell us more about your heritage, where your homeland is from, and where you're located today, and how that process has been for you?
Okay, so I don't know. In today's world, we live in a world where governments, countries will not view it kindly, but what the hell, since I've written my book and since everybody who knows me knows my views. So I'll just say it. I was born in a country where I say I was born in the wrong country, which is India. And I have lived in Asia in at least three different countries. And I call myself a global citizen. And I think that it should, we operate a lot on boundaries, which should not be the case. And yes, so it's India that I was born in, based in Singapore, but I call myself a global citizen.
So talk to us about those boundaries. Well, first and foremost, Singapore, I hear, is one of the cleanest countries on the planet. I hear they have laws there that they have to keep the streets clean. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. It's one of the best countries in Asia, and for me, it's one of the best countries in the world. Although, you know, people have different opinions. But in this country, if I have to choose a place where I want to live the remainder of my life, I would choose it to be Singapore. And it is a small country, but it is, efficiently governed, and the administration is tight to keep it clean and to keep it efficient. We, I think, handled the pandemic very efficiently. And yeah, it is clean. I don't think one of the things is, like, I don't think you can have chewing gum, you know
Yeah,
in
that's what I heard. I
yes,
heard.
yes.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
can't do that. And that's okay. I think we are not literally, suffering because we can't have chewing gum, right? I mean, it's like anything in the world. We have the tobacco and smoking, and this is nothing to do. I'm not giving my opinion, but it's, you tell me this. We put in the boxes of the packet saying that smoking kills, and still human beings do the opposite, right? So, what I'm trying to say is that this is exactly how the world functions. It's all to do about saying and doing two different things. But some of us, we do what we think is the right thing to do. It's a philosophy of life that you lead. And that is why I think that we are non-linear thinkers, because we operate out of the box.
So when you say that you were born in the wrong country, you're saying born in India. Can you
Yeah.
make that connection to, why do you say that? And does that have anything to do with the linear ways of being, or did you feel restricted in your capacity to accomplish the thing that you have? Why do you say that you were born in the wrong country? For you personally.
Okay. I hope I won't get into trouble for this, but if at this age, and since we now know what's my age, if I don't speak now openly, then when do I speak? If you are in a country where we talk a lot about the culture, we talk a lot about how we are as a nation or as a society, but it is so challenging if you are a woman, you know, where there is gender based violence, discrimination, you have all kinds of caste, creed, religion issues, right? And even when we talk of human rights, then there's a lot to be. I mean, the 30 minutes will probably 30 hours will not be enough. 30 years won't be enough. So that is why I say, though I achieved a lot, now this is the paradox. I achieved a lot of my triumphs also in India, but do remember that the challenges were there. So, what about those challenges, And that is why I say, because why I choose to say that I would like to live here is because it is very stress free. As an ordinary person, you can still achieve to live a stress free life. In India, it's a challenge every day, every day.
Well, thank you for sharing that insights. So I want to move and help us cross the bridge from some of the accomplishments and challenges that you mentioned in India to you being the CEO of two organizations simultaneously. That's my understanding is that you lead these organizations, which happen to be one is in wellness and beauty, and the other happens to be a tailored menswear kind of shoemaker, although they do make shoes for women. Now, I have to tell you, I was very excited to join this interview because in a past life, I used to be in the tailored menswear industry, and I was familiar with this particular shoemaker, a very high quality shoemaker. And I happen to still have a passion for tailored menswear and high quality menswear still today. So I'm very interested to hear how you started HMZ and your operation with Pour Over Pores and how those kind of intersect between wellness and beauty and a high-end quality shoemaker. Can you help us, connect those dots?
Yes, I can. So, when I said that I started my company in a foreign country in Singapore, it was through my spiritual experience, actually, literally so. Because when my daughter got raped, I had gone to meet God in Barcelona, and I happened to go into the shoe store, and I was meditating prior to the incident. And I used to see myself wearing red boots, and when I went into the shoe store, I just asked the guy who gave me a pair of red boots, which I was already seeing before I even saw it. And I just said, "Why don't you open something in Asia and I'll run it for you?" And he says, "Why don't you talk to the owners?" And I talked to the owners, and they gave me the rights to open the franchise company in Singapore. That's how I started my business. HMZ is the parent company, Avocado Skin is the subsidiary company, and today I call myself a management consultant because of the diverse things that I do and bring to the table. And Avocado Skin was the subsidiary company which I set up when, you know, uh, when my shoe store finished in during pandemic times, and I went into from retail on ground to retail online, where where I started selling personal care products, and that's how Avocado Skin was born. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for that. That must have been a conversation. Definitely want to touch on your spiritual experience. We all have different levels of faith or not, and it sounds like yours is very strong. So you said that you went to Barcelona to see God, or you were in Barcelona already, and this experience happened to
Okay.
you. Is that picture?
No, no. So what happened was that just before the rape incident, I had gone to Barcelona and I had gone to Montserrat. So I must tell you here that I am not a born Catholic. Okay, and my parents, I was brought up by a widowed mother, and my parents had taught us that our religion was to be human and kind. I know that's not a religion, as a lot of people tell me, but that's how I operate. But we have had leanings, you could say, to Christianity, but I believe that it doesn't matter who you believe in. Ultimately, there's a higher power. And when I went to Barcelona, I connected with Montserrat, and I downloaded some choir songs and all that. When I came back, they used to play by themselves when the incident happened and the whole family was shattered. So I felt a calling that I had to go back to Montserrat. and a series and chain of events happened that, I used to see, as I told you, in the meditation prior to the incident happening. I used to see myself wearing red boots. I used to see myself looking from a hilltop, and I used to see angel wings. And when I saw this music playing on my laptop by itself, I knew that I had to go back to Montserrat to say some special prayers. And it was actually like fortifying myself with something when I had nothing, because the whole world ostracized us. Nobody was speaking to us, nobody came to our rescue, except for some senior cops who I've mentioned in the books, who held my hand. And they were the human angels, as I call them. So when I went to Barcelona to say the special prayers, the whole chain of events is like connecting the dots. And I landed up in Montserrat at the time when I was supposed to be in St. Joseph's Chapel. And just as I was supposed to be, and when I looked at my watch, it was exactly the time and place I was supposed to be. That's why I say I met God. And then I went into the caves where I had not been previously, and I saw the angel wings that I used to see in my meditation. So, all these signs is why I say that I met God. I also believe in human angels. So, my daughter does tarot card, angel card readings, and Archangel Gabriel, Michael, and Raphael always pop out. And when I went, a Spanish chef who befriended me had told me to go to this monastery to talk to the priest. And when I went there, I discovered it was the hilltop that I used to see in my meditation. I told the priest my entire story, and I felt maybe, he might think I'm a little foolish talking of angels and all that. But he said, no, it's providence. Would you like to meet your angels? And that's the only monastery in Spain, he told me, where the three archangels are pictorially depicted. And so I met the angels there. That's why I say I met God and angels in Barcelona.
Wow, that's quite an experience, quite a story and a
Yeah.
reality. Thank you for sharing that and giving us a little bit of insight into your faith and your spirituality. So with the time that we have left, I want to focus a little bit on your life mentoring and what that means to you. I know personally, I have sought out mentors in different parts and stages of my life. Mentoring is different than coaching and these types of things, but tell us why you call yourself a life mentor and how that, and who do you mentor and how do you do that? And ultimately, how does that mentorship help solve hard problems in the world?
Well, throughout this life journey, if you see it, I have always helped people, always. And I've always been there. If I die, I think what can be said about me is she was always there. And in social media, like Clubhouse and all that, and that's how I got to meet Perry also, is when nobody was there for me and I was there. So all these experiences gained me my mentorship, because people reached out to me. You see, in society, there are a lot of things that one goes through and we don't share it. We are taught and conditioned in society and not to speak about things, to brush things under the carpet. But I put it back to society. Whatever I have gained, the wisdom that I have gained, I put it back. That's for me. So my mentorship is from across the globe, across people's ages, from, you can say, adolescents to senior people to housewives to you name it. When people, I have said I'm everybody's 2 a.m., 4 a.m. friend. So if anybody has a problem, they can come to me and I can mentor them on any aspect of life and most aspects of life. I cannot, of course, always talk on technical matters. So it's not like, if you want some chartered accountancy from me, that I can help you mentor on that. But on life matters, yes, I can, because I've been there and I've been all alone. So I know what it is. So I give it back in my mentorship to people across the board, across the globe. And this gained a lot of emphasis after my book was written. So people come to me. My book has my all my details in it. I'm one of the few authors who's always accessible, because I believe you need to be accessible. Otherwise, what for are we sitting in society if we cannot be accessible and be there for people? Let's not talk about inclusivity, diversity, and all those jargons if we don't practice what we preach. So that's my mentorship. I mentor all kinds of people, from anybody to everybody, you could say. It's difficult to say. It's so wide ranged.
Yeah, I would agree that a lot of those buzzwords and a lot of those phrases, a lot of folks say, and they may not have a full understanding. And even if they have a full understanding, it's one thing to say something, and it's another to act on that consistently with discipline over time. So I appreciate your mentorship and the way that you've given it back to the world. So the final wrap up here as we come head to a close. Very interested to hear your thoughts on how the octopus movement can help others and amplify this mentorship that you're discussing and this inclusivity that you're discussing from a nonlinear space. So, being a founding member, how do you see your role moving forward, and how do you see the role of the octopus movement impacting the world in the global space?
The very fact that the octopus movement, from where it started and to where it has come, is testimony to the fact that if you do things out of the box, if you do not conform to society, and you bring such diversity, which we do, right? In this platform, Perry has managed to gather so many different kinds of gems of excellence, as I would call it, that it the proof, the pudding is in the eating, right? So you can see that we all have unique skill sets which we offer to the people, right? And we are not put into boxes. We don't operate in boxes. We don't operate according to how society would have us you know behave and you know conduct ourselves. So we believe that we can be ourselves and we can do things differently, and that itself is going to make a difference. Look, the difference may not be something earth shattering or very big, but it takes every little drop to make the difference. It takes one person to make an impact in somebody's life. And I believe that here is a wealth of people and their wisdom which can make a difference across the globe. This does not have to do with passports and boundaries and all, as technology does help us in that respect, of course.
Yeah, I want to thank you for your tutelage here because I'm always learning from other people. And you mentioned your book. Can you tell our audience and our listeners the full title of your book one more time and where they can find
Yeah.
that?
So the title of the book is Against All Odds: No Retakes, No Manuals, Real Life Lessons. And it's available, I think, almost on all platforms of Amazon in most countries. It's also available in, I don't know, so many different places. I find my book when I do a search, from Walmart to boutique online retail stores where books are sold. So you can find it almost anywhere
So is
in
this
all.
a memoir of sorts for you, or do you plan to continue writing in the future?
No, I've written two books. There's one book which co-authored with my son. It's called Book of Whimsical Musings. It's got short stories, essays, and very diverse kind of topics in that book, which is very, very non-linear. It's also got a published sitcom in that book. And there's a small pocket book of crime fiction called Wink. So I have written these three books, plan to write some more, but writing takes a lot of time. So now into podcasting also. And I interview people with a little twist, where you have to have a playlist of songs. It's called Hangout with Sujata. It's also available in Spotify, Amazon, and what's the other one? I forget. But anyway, it's there.
Well, that sounds like a fun time. So you have to come to the show with a playlist, or you build a playlist while you're on the show.
No, you come to the show with a playlist, and earlier I used to play the songs. Now I've changed it a little bit. We talk about the songs and your life journey, but I put the links of the songs with with your show, so people can listen to it at length without it taking away from the share of the story.
Sounds like a fun time. I have to check that out.
Yeah.
So we're headed down to the end of our time here. And last question. If there was something that you want to share with our listeners in terms of how they can follow in your footsteps when it comes to the level of confidence that you mentioned, when it comes to thinking outside the box as you displayed throughout your professional career and also in your personal life, what would you say and what piece of advice could you give to our listeners? One thing for them to remember as you leave us today.
Well, I would say I would quote my favorite song, which is "Be Yourself" by Audio Slave, because at the end of the day, you have nothing but yourself to rely on. Sometimes in life, you will have nothing but yourself to rely on. And if you can operate out of that, trust me, you can achieve the impossible.
Awesome. Well said. Nadia, thank you. And so, where can our listeners get in touch with you? Where can they find more of you? You mentioned the podcast, you mentioned the book. Is there any place else that you are that you want to interact with our audience?
Well, they can find me if they, I mean, look, I'm a WhatsApp person, so always I give my number, which is +65 91735302, because I believe in instant connectivity. But yes, I'm there on LinkedIn and other social media, but I'm very bad at it actually to continuously be there. But I have an email, I have my phone number, and if people want to reach me, they can reach me easily. I think I'm one
Okay,
of the most accessible person on this planet.
awesome. Well, thank you for your time. I
Thank you
certainly.
for,
Oh no, it was a
having
pleasure.
me.
Yes, yes, I appreciate the opportunity. So, to our listeners, if you have questions or you feel inspired to join the Octopus Movement yourself after our conversation, please visit theoctopusmovement.org for more information. Remember, there is potential in all of us. You see the potential in Sujata, and she's been fulfilling that potential. I want you to remember to embrace your unique way of thinking, and I encourage you to to join the movement. I am Grant Harris, your host of the Octopus Movement podcast. And until next time, keep thinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you.